guys, welcome to our life. We're going to show you everything about our rig, and we're going to go through the whole thing. All the links for everything are below.
We've had it long enough to speak about it. So the average person that goes off-roading or overlanding, they go 30 days in a year. And that's from multiple different sources. So we full-time, which means 30 out of 30 days in a month, we're doing this stuff. So what a lot of the companies and manufacturers like is that we will give them 1 year's worth of use and product testing in 30 days. So of all the gear we've had, including the trailer, we have reached out to each of the companies and allowed them the opportunity to address the issues that we're having, if we're having issues. So let's get started. This video is going to be very long, so we're going to try to do the chapter thing. Haven't done that before, so we'll see how that goes. But this is going to be super in-depth, so every single thing that we use, we're going to tell you about it, and we're going to give you our honest opinion, regardless of whether we're a partner or sponsored or affiliate or whatever. We're going to give you guys the honest truth, as we always have. And yeah, let's get to it. This is Black Betty. She is a 2018 Toyota 4Runner limited. Because we full-time, we went limited. It is the same full-time four-wheel drive system as the GX, the Lexus GX series, and the Toyota Land Cruiser. So naturally, we've had no issues. We do have a Icon Vehicle Dynamics 3-inch lift done by 88 Rotors. They also gave us the 17-inch TRD wheels with the BF Goodrich KO2s in a 285/70/17. They give us a perfect match to the trailer and the one spare. And on the back, because this is a stage 4, we do have the remote reservoir shocks. And we also did the 200-pound oversprings back here, because you guys know we tow full time. So the 200-pound oversprings in the rear, Black Betty, as you can see right now, there's no weight on the tongue jack. Sits perfectly level while towing. And that's because we have an exactly 11% tongue weight on the trailer, which is perfect for off-roading. The trailer holds its own weight and it does its own brakes. Speaking of brakes, we use the Red Arc Tow Pro Elite. And I absolutely love this brake controller. So, absolutely love it. I've spoken about it before. When you're running down the highway and regular driving, it's in proportional mode. And so, as you touch the brakes on the car, proportional to how hard you push the brake pedal, it applies to the trailer brakes. But when you get off-road, you can change it over and fully control the trailer brakes independent of the car, which we love and we've used extensively. When we're in the snow and the mud and the sand, I turn the trailer brakes off to 0. And that way, because the 4Runner and most new vehicles in their form of A-track or traction, they will pulse the brakes, and when that happens, your trailer brakes actually get activated. So I just turn it off and don't worry about it. Now when we're rock crawling and going down some serious trails, I will set the trailer brake on 10, and that is because I will put the trailer brakes on and I'll activate it manually, and it will hold the entire forerunner on the cliff and just let it inch down ever so slightly. And so super control. So we absolutely love how much control that trailer brake gives us. I love that it just clicks right into one of my switch panel that's already there from the factory. Absolutely love it. Any other vehicle that I get, that's what I'm gonna move to. It's so easy, it's so nice. Absolutely love it. We've had no issues. Obviously, we drive it a lot, so you can see that we pinstripe it often. Not scared to go down the trails and get some pinstripes. We have added these vinyl American flags on the rear windows. We actually love them. And then, as you guys have seen before, we've got some Emma's vinyl for our YouTube and 2 different Instagrams that we run. Love that. The Victory 4x4 rack that we have on top, while it is useful in some cases, we have found out for the Forerunner, the Victory 4x4 rack is not the best option, because you either have to modify the parts and pieces you're putting on top, or you have to modify the rack to get the things to actually fit on there. Plus, this rack vibrates and moves and is very loud going down the road, even with gear on it. So we're actively looking to either an RCI or a Prinsu rack to put on the Forerunner, because we are looking at getting some cargo boxes for the top and possibly putting solar on top of those cargo boxes. So we're gonna have to figure out the rack first. We'll keep you guys up to date on that. This next piece is it was a big deal for us. This is a Cruise Masters DO35. So this is the 3.5 ton, and that's TONNE. So if you do the conversion, it's 7,500 pound. And it is a class 4, as you can see there. 77. Oop, let me get that to focus. Come on, come on. There it is. So you can read it. It is a class 4, 7,714 pound hitch. It's 3.5 ton. Absolutely love this. This hitch does not come from the manufacturer, and they will not put this on for you. They use a max coupler, which we personally have seen those bent or broken out on the trail. Regardless of whether it's user error or it's, you know, they improperly load the tongue weight or they do something really wrong, it's irrelevant, honestly. Once you've seen something broken like that on the trail, it puts it in your mind that it's not as reliable. Now, I know tons of people have that hitch, and I know tons of people have no issues with that hitch, but for me, I don't even want there to be a possibility of it. And I have never heard or seen ever the DO35 ever being bent or broken or having any issues. So we went this direction, and we would never look back, and we'll never look back. We love this hitch, absolutely, as does apparently most of the other trailer manufacturers, as they have all been moving to the DO35 and the DO45. So obviously it's a very wantable and very desirable hitch, as most of the other trailer manufacturers are moving to this hitch. So absolutely love it, no issues. Now we do keep it greased. I put the regular grease in here. That's the same grease I put in the tire hubs and on the timbrin, both places on the timbrin and the axle hubs and on the suspension itself. It's also the same grease that I put in the front delta joints for our Forerunner suspension. So that's nice.
I got your feeling trouble.
Yeah, very nice. Eat it. Tell me if it tastes good. Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. And so then right here on the actual hitch itself, I use white lithium grease, and I do that pretty often. We keep it super clean because, you know, we are off-road almost all the time. So we're very, very careful. We're very, very careful with keeping everything greased and very clean because we full-time, this stuff has to be functioning. We cannot have a lapse in judgment or forget to do something like that and have issues down on the trail. So, other than that, have no issues at all. So that's the hitch. We love it. Now this is my 30 amp DC to DC. As you can see, I use super thick cable. This is 0 gauge cable that I run from the battery in the 4Runner all the way back to here. And I run it through an Anderson connector that I then run through the trailer tongue. It goes through the tongue and all the way back in, and then back into where my DC to DC isolated Victron Energy charger is. And absolutely love it. Because the 4Runner is a smart alternator, I had to mess with the settings just a little bit, as you will too. You just mess with it a little bit, but you don't have to run a third ignition cable or any sense cable or anything. You just set your parameters in there, and it has been absolutely perfect. So when the car is running, I have it wait 120-second delay. You can change that number based on your vehicle, but I've found that 120-second delay is what I want for Black Betty. And then as soon as the car is turned off, within 2 seconds of the car turning off, the DC to DC charger cuts, and don't even think about it anymore. Absolutely love it. On to the next thing. So the next thing we'll talk about is just for us and the early adopters. The Extreme Off-Road Series 500 tongue jack. While originally we had no issues with this, now the gearing inside slips, and we're having issues with it, and it looks to be bending a little bit. Since we've got our trailer, now the manufacturer doesn't use this tongue jack anymore. They use the 750, which is the black one. Obviously they switched to that for a reason. Obviously we're going to switch to that for a reason, whether they provide it to us or whether we purchase it ourselves. We'll let you know. But we are definitely looking at a different tongue jack, as this one is needing to be replaced because it is failing. So, but as for the actual design and everything, I love that the wheels come off to the side. That's absolutely perfect because you can put the wheels directly under the tongue, or you can set them one way or another. And I love that it's not directly underneath the thing, so we actually can wheel it around. It's very, very stout. Have had no other issues than the gear thing failing, but we love that this tucks up flat. This is the low point right here on the hitch, right here, which we absolutely love because we use this a lot, and anything that hangs low is gonna get touched. So yeah, the tongue jack is going to be replaced. We're gonna stay with the in the company, but we're gonna jump from the 500 up to the 750. So we have the black Trasharoo bag that sits on our spare tire on the nose of Blaze, and we absolutely love the Trasharoo. I love that there's a big zippered pocket right here, and I love that inside it is a huge full length. I mean, this is massive. The whole thing that you see here is open inside. We love it because it actually holds a lot of trash, and I still get the pockets on the outside. I still get the mole on the outside, and we still get a zippered pouch on the nose. So I know there's other brands that have better UV, and I know they have other brands that don't have issues with the cracking and the holes and the stuff like that, and the straps not failing and stuff like that. I know there's other manufacturers that make a higher quality one, but functionality wise is more what we have to go for because we full time. And so functionality wise, haven't found one that functions better and gives us this much storage in it. But for now, not really concerned about the UV, not really concerned about the UV stuff, not really concerned about the little cracking and holes and stuff, because it is just for trash. And you guys know us, we collect trash at all the sites we go to because we love doing this, and so do you. So I know it's not your trash or my trash, but we all got to do our part to keep these places open. So this bag is full every time we leave a site or an area, and we've never been stopped by gas stations or whoever for us putting trash in their dumpsters or their trash cans, because they love that we are cleaning up the spaces around them, because they love those spaces too. So that's the Trasharoo. While it's not the highest quality, as you guys can easily see from the reviews and many people, functionality wise, it's what we're looking for. So when we look at these other brands, functionality is the top. We've had ours for 8 months, and while the UV is faded, we don't have any holes in it yet. But so that's what, 8 years worth of use for the average person. So after 8 years, I'd say we're looking pretty good still. So pretty happy with that. That's what it looks like after being in the sun for 8 months. Full-time use. Absolutely love it. So the next thing we're going to talk about are these plugs that I put here. I have an AC plug here that's on 20 amp, and that goes back into Black Betty. And that's because I run my office in Black Betty. And we have, right now, we're using the Lion Energy Safari in there. Just, I plug that into that cable, which is a waterproof surge protector. And then I run my laptop and whatever else I need to off of that unit. And we've had no issues with that. So this is my second plug. The other one goes to Black Betty, or I can use this side for Black Betty, depending on how we park or if we stay hooked up or not. Otherwise, this one or the other one can go up into the tent. And that goes up into the tent for the boys. If or when we're in snow, we can put a little electric heater up there if we need to. We haven't needed to yet, and we've been down to, with this tent, we've been down to 22 and not needed the heater. So it's just there just in case. I can control each individual outlet so that when we're out and about, I can turn them off so that nobody can come have some power off of our outlets. So yeah. And then this is the other external thing that I've done. It's a Furrion 30 amp. While we have not plugged that in since we got the trailer, actually we did. When we were at Mr. Wayne's house, Mr. Wayne and Miss Becky's house in their backyard, as you guys saw on social media a while back, we did run the 30 amp off of a generator that he let us borrow. It was nice. It was different. It was... we got to see how that went, because we're still exploring getting solar for the rooftop tent, and we're still trying to sort out our ground solar situation. So just looking at all the options like we always do. So either way, I have that on there in case. But like I said, we plugged in twice, I think. Yeah, 2 times. Didn't really need to, just did it anyways. So if you guys remember King Leo, you know that I had a 30 amp plug on the outside of King Leo, and because of that we still have the cables. And because I've put that 30 amp on Blaze, I've kept the cables. So this is what we use for that. And it all sits right here in the front box. So as you can see, here are my 400 amp hours of lithium. My Cerbo GX, that's a game changer. The all the 7-pin trailer stuff, and then I've got my DC to DC isolated, always the isolated. And then I've got my solar charger, and then I've got my 3000 watt inverter converter. It's the Multiplus from Victron. And then way down in there you can see my smart shunt Yes, I have overcabled. I did that on purpose. I bought all this cable when we did King Leo. King Leo was a highway trailer and there was wood. And so I overdid the specs on the cable because it's wood and I wanted no heat, absolutely no heat in the cables. No matter what amperage I pulled out of the batteries. Fire's a real thing for a lot of people. You can search for yourself and see all that stuff. So I wanted no chance of the cables getting hot. And we've pulled, good grief, we pulled 120 amps on purpose to check, and the cables, they don't even change temperature. So we absolutely love it. But also, this is where all our cables live. This is our 30 amp to 30 amp cable. I've got two, and these are all 10, it's a 10 gauge 30 cable. These are 10 gauge 15 amp cables. I have one that's into a triple. I have one that's just a regular. And then those are both 50 foot. And then I have one that is 100 feet long. So we can pull from wherever. Now, I've had this from day one. Absolutely love it. You definitely need to get one of these if you have an RV or anything that plugs in. Progressive Industries, absolutely love it. 30 amp, no problem. As you can see, we have a 50 amp that goes to 30 amp in case we get into that situation. We've got a 15 amp that goes into 30, so we can plug in that way if we need to. And then my personal favorite, this is a 30 amp that goes to two 15s. And we used this way before we had the 30 amp plug going in. And that was so that I could plug into a 30 and then pull one that goes into the tent when we had the 87 and one that went to the 4Runner so that could work. So we did that and I just kept the cables. I can't tell you how many times we've let people borrow these cables to help them out or run them a cable from our rig for power, which is funny. So that's our cabling and our power AC side. So the next piece of the trailer that we'll talk about is something that if you've been keeping up, you know that we're still having an issue with and we're still trying to figure out a solution for. So the water, the fresh water, when you're going off-road or even if your trailer is just a little off tilted to the nose and to the driver's side at all, it just pours right out the overflow. And we're trying to find a solution like a backflow preventer or a cap or something that will stop all of our water from coming out, because we full-time, we need our 36 gallons of water because that is what we need. And while we do have a life straw to replenish and we're in the process of getting a Clear Source Nomad that we can replenish from any other water source, it's really annoying to be dumping water on the trail and everybody behind you is not happy about dumping water on the rocks, especially if they're slick rocks. It just makes a mess. And so that was a huge oversight with the trailer. And so we're trying to find a solution, as are many of you guys trying to find a solution. So if you find a solution before we do, please let us know. That has got to be fixed. That's not really acceptable, and that's really bad trail etiquette to be dumping water on the trails. So please let us know. But for the water filters, this is what we currently use. Your regular blue RV filter, but we run that straight into a green coconut filter. And while the blue filter kills everything, and not worried about any of that stuff, the green filter actually filters for taste as well, and it's a coconut filter. So when we're down in Florida, Texas, wherever where they dump tons of chlorine in the water to make it safe, we find that we and the boys don't drink it with that taste in it. So the green filter eliminates that, and we absolutely love it, and we can get everybody to drink the half to 1 gallon per day depending on where we are. And so the blue filter's 20 at Walmart, the green filter's 25 at Walmart, so it's cheap enough. So that's what we use right now, and we absolutely love it. When we're looking at moving to the Clear Source, we're gonna taste it and see what we think. But other than that, I mean, everybody's got to do their own thing with water. Some people have Berkey, some people have water filters after the fact. You just got to figure out what works for you. But that's what we do right now. And we have a zero gravity 50-foot hose. Love it. Never gets tangled, never had any issues, doesn't leak. Super lightweight, super compact. We love it. Every time we're filling up our fresh water, everybody's asking us about it because they have those big traditional style hoses and always getting tangled and worried about this and that. And I just grab mine and chuck it and then turn the water on and boom, it works. So absolutely would buy another one. In fact, we're actually looking at getting a second 50-footer because there's been some instances where we need more than 50 feet. So, oh, and then we have a water bandit, and I'll put that Amazon link down below. Actually, we'll just put our gear page link down below. That way you guys can go and look at all this stuff. But it's called a water bandit, which means we can get water from sources that are not threaded, or we can even get it from a sink. So in the emergency case where we need water, we can get it. So that's that. All right, now we're gonna get to the first bit about the trailer itself. Actually, the front compartment. So as you guys know, and especially if you've been keeping up with us personally, the front compartment at both doors are leaking water. So we reached out to Xpedition, who's in Salt Lake City. We actually dropped by and talked to Artie and his shop foreman, and they took care of all the stuff. So the seal that comes on these doors, the original seals were way thicker and had no issues, and so we had them trade out what they currently are putting on the trailers for these much thicker ones. And while yes, it does take quite a bit more effort to close and lock the door, we are super happy because it is now dustproof and waterproof, which means this is an off-road trailer. We get in the dirt and dust and mud and sand often, so it's more important that it actually seals out the water and the stuff than is easy to close. So we're super happy with that. That is one thing that they took care of for us. That was on our list. So super happy about that. The next piece we're going to talk about is these lights, these floodlights that they use that go over. Now on the model you get from them, they do not put this fourth one in right here. We've added this in because we use it on trails and we use it all the time. So that floodlight lights up the back corner, whereas previously when we're on a trail at night trying to back in, or at night trying to set up or do whatever, this whole corner was pitch black dark. So we added that light, and now we've got full illumination around the trailer. If we're off-roading at night, we get full vision of the trail, and then so yeah, we can see inside the fridge, even though our fridge has a really nice LED in it. We wanted that on there. It just looked a little weird only having 3 and missing one on that corner, so we went ahead and had the manufacturer give us that, and we did that install ourselves. It was very simple, and yeah, we love it. The next piece are these doors. Now these doors leak water on the front and on the top, and then also they leak underneath. We spoke to the manufacturer. They tried to look and reset a bunch of stuff, but basically these are pre-made doors that they just get in. And so what they are going to do, and I don't know if they're going to do this for everybody, but at least for us, and I think they will, is they have a rain guard that screws in. It goes all the way up here. And that should stop the leak from the top side. And then they adjusted the hinges and the locks that are right in here. They adjusted all of this. So now if you do this, you see how it's not all the way closed? And listen. Now it takes a little bit more effort to close the door fully, and it pushes in on the weather stripping a little more. And so far, on the bottom side and on the 2 sides, we still don't have that issue, but on the top, as you can see here all the way to here, there's a big gap right here, and then it goes back and there's a gap. That top little rain guard they're supposed to give us at Expo West here in the next couple of days, and it should fix that issue. So we're super happy that they're going to take care of that as well. The next thing is our well, I'll talk about this real quick. Our fenders. Absolutely love our fenders. You can have, we've had 3 people stand up on there, adults at the same time. The fenders don't bend. We absolutely love that you can actually stand on the fenders, that they're not just ornamental or for keeping rocks off of your trailer. They're actually functional and we love them. As you can see, we use it for a table, a shelf, on days where we're packing up or days that we're just running down the trail and we need food. It's perfect table for our kids and for us. And we actually love the fenders quite a bit. They're very, very handy.
No issues.
No issues with those whatsoever. Absolutely love them. The next piece we'll talk about is our 2 propane tanks. Now we had them put, there's one on the passenger side and we had them add this one on the driver's side, and this one, as you can see, is actually plumbed in as well. And
Do that again.
we absolutely love it. While we didn't want it plumbed in originally, we're actually glad that they did plumb it in. However, now that the stove has failed, it is becoming an issue again with having it plumbed in. So we're split. Some days we love it being plumbed in, other days we don't like it being plumbed in. When we redo our kitchen slide, it's going to be awesome to have it plumbed in. And when we figure out a new shower solution, that will be nice too to have it plumbed in. So as you can see here, there's supposed to be a shower unit here, and yes, we did have a shower unit until it exploded 3 times. And it is an issue. And not only that, but the manufacturer is actually looking for a new shower, as is the dealer. So we are actually still looking for a legitimate off-road or off-trail shower, because we like to shower. In fact, Kelly likes to shower a lot. So we're actively looking for a shower solution. If you know of any ones that we should try or could try, that would be great. I believe when we talked to the manufacturer that they are moving to the Truma all-in-one, which is not only the water heater, but also an actual heater. So that won't work for us because that takes up where my lithium batteries are. So we're actually looking for another brand shower that we can install on the back side of that door. If you have any suggestions, or if you're a company that makes them, please reach out and let us know what you got. We're not looking for free stuff, but we got to buy something pretty soon. So let us know. So here's our fridge slide, and we are super excited to show you guys our 111 quart Truma. It is the C105. Now the C96DZ, which is the dual zone, is the exact same exterior size as this, but it is a dual zone. And we found that we just don't need the dual zone, at least at this time. And so we love it. Love that it's Bluetooth, and we can remotely control and monitor our fridge. Absolutely love it. So there's a DC on this side. There's also an AC on this side. There's also a DC on the other side. And if you choose to have this fridge, you will have to scoot it all the way in for the door to close. So this is what we do right now. Our potatoes, apples, bananas, whatever, still sit on top of the fridge in transit. Or actually looking for some kind of a net, like a net solution or something to put up here so we can stick all this in there, because right now with all of this on there, we can't actually pull the fridge out quickly and easily, which we want to be able to do. So I believe we have found a net, and we're going to mount the net way up top. That way we can just slide things in and it doesn't touch the fridge. But also so our fruit and vegetables don't get bruised. Where they put a hole here in the USBs, I've actually changed that over to a little voltage meter, so we can see our voltage. And I use a 12 volt that's been put up there for the fridge. So there's no interference with the countertop. So that plug doesn't interfere with the countertop. Whereas if you put the 12 volt here, then it's got to snake all the way under the counter and then go, and then you got to worry about all that stuff whenever you're taking it in and out all the time. So that's just what we do. Let me pull the fridge out for you. Fridge is fully out. We do have to pull it and slide it out to the end of the slide. But now, perfectly, look at this. 111 quart fridge with a 1/16 of an inch to spare. As I said, there's another 12 volt here. Yeah, we absolutely love it. Now, when we pull this down, we just have to make sure the cord's out of the way because it will cut the cord up if you're not paying attention when this slide or when this tabletop comes down. Well, this is where I have my cheap little flux welder. I have all the grease. I have my battery chargers. And I have an extra surge protector. I don't remember why we have that. Oh, that's for if we ever go into a hotel. I have a surge protector to protect my electronics. So, other than that, that's the fridge. We absolutely love the fridge. As soon as we got the fridge this year, 2022, at the More Expo. And that was the first night that Kelly and I actually got to use this trailer as we bought it for. After 7 months, we waited to get the fridge. So for 7 months, we all slept up top in the 23087 walkabout tent, and we never slept down inside the trailer because our fridges had to sit in there. So now that the Truma is here, we get to use the trailer as intended, and I can't tell you how nice it is to have that separation. So, all right, so this is a big part of why we liked this. The fridge pulls out. If you get a smaller fridge, they actually put a little shelf that flops down off of it. Because our fridge is the maximum size, we don't get the little flop down, but we don't miss it. We have a huge stainless steel here, and it actually works as to protect all of this while we're traveling because it goes up and lays flat against there. We have learned under no circumstances ever do you put glass on these shelves. The cleaning is unbelievably hard. So don't ever do that. Don't ever put glass on these shelves. It will not go well. So, other than that, as you can see, we can carry quite a bit of stuff here, and we're not actually full. So, we love it. Absolutely love it. So, up here in the counters above, this is where we put all of our pots and pans and plates and bowls and all of that stuff. And then all the rest of our pans and stuff. And then we just shove all of our little grocery bags right here.
So that it's all secure.
So one, it's nice and secure and tight, that because we off-road all the time, it moves around. And we can use those little grocery bags for trash, and you could chuck those in gas station trash cans really easily. So we save those for that purpose. Now we're gonna move to the other side of the back. So if you've seen those big black and yellows from Lowe's, this middle cabinet is the same volume as that. So it's massive, absolutely massive. And not only do you get to access it from the back, but if you're over here cooking or at the sink, you get side access to that one.
On a standard one, you can access it from inside too.
And from the regular manufacturer model, they put a door to the inside. So if you like to snack at night, you can hide your snacks all the way at the back so that they can't be seen. And then at night, you can just open up that inside door and get at the snacks. And then the upper is twice the capacity of the bottom. And yeah, we keep it full. So if you're less than a family of 6 that eats like adults, then you'll have a lot more food storage than we do, time-wise. So we love those. And then this bottom drawer comes with a cutting board. You get to shove all kinds of stuff in here. And I mean, we absolutely love this. And then we use a battery powered, it's a Pampered Chef thing.
So it's a immersion blender, a regular hand blender with the 2 things that stick down, and then it also has a food processor piece, which we keep in the topper portion, the big
And it
compartment.
shreds cheese too.
And it shreds cheese. So that's why we use that. I do have a hand shredder, and I don't always use the food processor, but if I'm making things like quesadillas or something that uses a ton of cheese, then I sometimes will pull the processor out just because it's easier.
So that way I don't have to run AC back here like we originally thought we would. So that's nice. And it's just battery powered, so we can charge those up when we're running down the road. So no problem. So because we got rid of the entire red arc system in our trailer that comes standard, because we have Victron and Battleborn, which the manufacturer now actually offers the Battleborn internally heated batteries, which you should get. But because we had them remove the whole red arc system, because we had a much more robust Victron system, we've moved all our switches here. And I'm actually getting ready to add 3 more switches. I'm not going to reveal what they're for yet, but they're pretty cool. So this slide, we are wanting to replace or redo completely. It really doesn't function well for us. We find that we only use this to fill water bottles and fill pots. It's not big enough to do much of anything else in. We found that we had to put a water pump turn off because of this piece right here on the sink. Watch, it's all the way closed. I'm going to close the lid. Now I'm going to open the lid. It's open, which means you're pouring water into here, which means it all goes into there and floods everything. Not okay. So,
especially since red arc is usually down there.
Yeah, especially if you even if you have the factory system, that's where all your red arc stuff and batteries sit back here. I've moved all mine to the nose, but that's where all your electrical sits. That's really bad. So we put the water pump here on a switch to kill it, and we just leave this open. That way it's all drained too, but then we can actually travel down the road with it, and that's just the way it is. And then this is a Dometic 2-burner stove. If you are a single person or 2 people, the stove is great and it functions well. It's not that efficient with propane, as we've found, but for a family where you need more than 1 pot or pan, the stove doesn't work because they don't fit on there. The only solution that we have found that actually works on this is to put a griddle on there.
But I don't love that because the flames come out here.
The problem with that is you get propane flames that come flying out of here at random and burn the skin or burn the hair off of your hands and skin, or burn your clothes because you're standing here. So naturally we're looking for a new solution to put it in the slide because we want to actually be able to use the slide. Right now what we use is we use the green Coleman Classic. And this is how we actually cook. Is we use this right here, and we plumb that off of a separate cable straight into the propane tank that is on this side. We absolutely love this. We can use 2 pots next to each other. We can use the cast iron. We can use the cast iron griddle. And this is way, way, way more efficient. So we can get 2.5 months of 1 propane bottle on just this, whereas we can only get maybe a month of a propane bottle using the Dometic stove. So we are in the process of finding a solution because we want to use the slide. So yeah, we're looking for a slide manufacturer or a fabricator or somebody to help us with that. So if you know somebody, let us know, because we want the slide to function well. That way we don't have to carry anything extra, because as you guys know, space and weight are a premium. So if we could have one thing in the slide that actually functions, that's what we want to do. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Sorry, the boys don't like cashews. I love them. And then we have the kitchen organizer. Now this does come standard. Sorry, this is an option from the manufacturer, and we love it. We highly, highly recommend it. There's plenty of space for everything in here. And Kelly found these on Amazon. And we'll link that in the description below, but that's all of our spices. All of them that we cook with. So, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, let me show the fridge. And the last thing that we love about this fridge is, even though it is a monster, when it is in, we can still open it and get a gallon of milk in and out of here when it is in. So when we're down on the trail, we love it, because this is actually how we normally are when we're running down the trail. And there's the LED light there. But we can still get anything in and out of here, gallons of milk, whatever, pretty easily. So we love it. This is our second propane tank. This one is plumbed in. This is the one that comes from the manufacturer if you don't opt to have them give you a second one. A unthought of but big bonus is if you have 2 propane bottles, it blocks the headlights from cars behind you at nighttime, so you get no lights at all in your mirrors, which is actually really nice. And then on the occasion where people run with their bright lights, which a lot of people do nowadays apparently, doesn't bother you at all while you're driving. So we love that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the manufacturer has these steps that go right here. We love them. In fact, we had them add a 4th one right here. Everybody in the shop loved it and thought that was an excellent idea, and thinks that they should put it on all their models because it is just lower than the fender, but it is flush. And that means my 2-year-old and my now 5-year-old, but he was 4, can actually just climb straight up right here and not climb onto the fender and then do the balancing dance to get over and then get to the first step. This way they can actually just climb straight up from the bottom. We love it, and if you ask them to, I'm sure they'll put it on there for you as well. And that brings us to the other side cabinet. We've had them replace the weather stripping on this too. But this is where I put my solar. And it's just an SAE plug that changes over to some MC4s, and then my MC4 cable runs out. Absolutely love it. It's waterproof, as are my other electrical outlets on the outside are full waterproof. Have had no issues with them. And so, yeah, we absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So the next piece we're going to talk about is the 2 big things that everybody sees when you first look at our trailer. And yes, it is 23.0, the 270, the Peregrine awning. And then it was the 23.0 87 walkabout, but it is now, as you can see, a little different. This is the 23.0 Kabari. This is their hard shell, and the inside is a queen mattress, whereas the 87 was 96 by 87, so it was a monster. But because Kelly and I don't sleep up there anymore, this is more than enough for the boys right now. When it becomes a thing where the boys don't fit in there anymore, we'll just put another little something on the 4Runner. So the 270 awning, we love it. Absolutely love it. It covers all the way up. And what's nice is the boys and us, you still have plenty of room to climb up the ladder right here and get in and out with it deployed. So we love that. We've been in high wind and have not had any issues. When we need to run our life straw and collect water in the rain, we'll just tie this one piece down right here into a bucket and collect water, and then we can filter it and dump it straight into our tank. So we love that. The back door does open with the awning deployed. And then the only piece that is a little weird is this little black back flappy thing. I use bungees to keep it up, just so it provides that extra little bit of shade. But as you can see, it's a little awkward. So, but we've had no issues with the awning. We've absolutely loved it. In fact, we're looking at getting the 2 walls to put on there because we like to be up on top of mountains. And up on top of mountains, you can get 65-mile-an-hour winds. And that is not fun to cook in. So, the walls just zip on right here. And then it's one wall that encloses the entire back corner, which means the kitchen area and everything back here is fully protected from the wind. You can also get a second wall that does this side and the front. I don't know if we're going to get that piece, but we're definitely going to get the piece that goes on the back. So that's coming soon. Now to the Kabari, and you might be telling yourself, hey, you put it on there backwards. Well, you can actually mount the Kabari front way or backwards. It's a solid built tent, whether it's opened or closed, you can mount it forwards or backwards. For us, we mounted it backwards because this is the opening on the front, and the boys can climb right up here on the trailer and get straight in. Now the boys can get up and down, and we love it because there is no ladder touching the ground. If we do not have the awning deployed, which on trail side we never do, and in some locations we don't deploy it because of the wind, but this way the only thing touching the ground are the 6 tires, 2 from the trailer, 4 from the 4Runner, which means when the wind blows, we just spin the trailer. We don't have to take the tent down, we don't have to put the kitchen away, we don't have to do anything. We just spin the trailer back into the wind. Or if solar's super low, and once we have the solar on top of the rooftop tent, we can spin that into the sun. So very, very big deal for those of us that full time. Being able to spin the trailer at a moment's notice is very important. So that's why we mounted the Kabari that way. We actually do not even have the ladder with us. So weight savings and just another thing we don't have to worry about. And to be able to use the Kabari ladder on this trailer, you will have to offset the tent to one side or another, so the ladder will actually come down over the roof rack. And we wanted everything centered because we're very conscious of weight side to side as well as front to back. The tent fits on the roof rack perfectly, but we had them center it because we wanted our weight to be perfectly left to right. And so for us, it just worked out perfectly. We didn't want the ladder and we got them to center it. If you want the ladder, you will have to offset it quite a bit to get that ladder. So you got to think about that. But the tent itself, love it. And with the way this trailer is made with the kitchen off of the one side, is you have to have your soft shell tent deployed on the driver's side, which is not the safe side. And when you're riding on a trail, that means you're deployed into the trail, and that's really not safe. So we've been thinking about this for a while, and that's why we've made this move. And we were gonna make this move anyway. We were gonna buy a second one while we were waiting on the fridge, just so we didn't have that safety issue. It was well worth that. But I'm gonna let the boys tell you about the Kabari, because guess who sets it up and sets up the inside and all of that stuff? Because Kelly and I, we don't climb up there anymore now that we have this. Okay.
So guys, this is our Kabari tent. I'm the one who sets it up. So that means I'm on the roof all the time. I'm the one who pops it up and sets it down.
You do the pole inside?
I do the pole inside, I do the outside poles, I set up the beds, I do the pillows. I even hand down stuff that's on the roof.
How easy is it to set up?
It's pretty easy. As long
Pretty
as you
easy
know
to
what...
set up and take down?
Yeah, it is.
What's the only part you need help with, Joshua?
The only part I need help with is to get the strap and lock it.
So we've been down to 20 degrees and they've had no heater up here. And have you been cold?
No, we have not. We were under our sleeping bags and our fleece blankets. Even Jefferson, I just let him come into my bed and he's like a heater. And I heat him.
So as you can tell, the boys love the Kabari, we love the Kabari, and if we need to get a second one, we're just gonna, after we get our new roof rack, of course, pop a second one over onto the 4Runner, unless something else is released first. So, absolutely love it. The Kabari actually sits directly on the roof rack. There's no risers or anything, so it's very low profile. When we moved from the 87, which is a soft shell, to the Kabari, we gained 2.5 to 3 miles per gallon with no other changes. So that's a big win for us being full time. 3 miles per gallon is a big deal because when you're out on a trail, and currently we do not carry any additional fuel, 3 miles per gallon is a lot. So we're actually looking at a solution for a long-range tank from Long Range America to put on the 4Runner. It actually doubles or just barely over or under doubles our current factory tank. So we'll have double the fuel capacity, which is really nice. But we've had no issues with the tent whatsoever. We absolutely love it. Really wish we would have moved to it sooner and in fact got a second one sooner. Yeah. Had no issues with the 87.
Absolutely loved it.
We absolutely loved the 87. If you're a big family, definitely get the 87. It is the biggest one they've had. It's huge, and we had the annex to go with it. So we had the changing room, dry room, wet room, whatever you want to call it down there. And we absolutely loved it. The only issues we've had are the normal issues. And remember that 30 days with us is equivalent to a year with everybody else. So we had that tent for the equivalent of 6 years when we moved to the Kabari, because we've had the Kabari for 2 months now. And Justin from 230 reached out at one of the shows we were in More Expo and spoke to us about the tent. Was super excited that we're full-time using their gear and how well it's been holding up. So the zippers, you guys know this, zippers are zippers, and zippers fail when you're out here in the dust and dirt. We did the pinch the zipper thing, we did the white lithium, we did all of that. The Kabari has much bigger zippers now. He also reached out to the factory that makes the tents, and based on our usage, they've made some changes at the factory already, and you guys will enjoy those benefits. So that's why a lot of the companies, especially 230, are super happy to be working with us, because we are testing their products for them and we're not babying the products, but we're not abusing them. And so we will find something wrong with the product way before you do. So if we still have products on our rig in the next month or two, you can trust that they're high quality and they stand the test of time, because we still have them on our stuff. So not to say that these are the only products that are doing that, but these are the products that we have, and we've tested these, and we've had these for the equivalent of 6 to 8 years now, depending on the product. And we can speak to the quality, and we can effectively speak to the longevity of these products. So because we full-time, if it doesn't work, it's not here. If it has manufacturing problems, it doesn't last long with us. So we reach directly out to the manufacturers and speak to them first before we release anything. And we want to also speak to them to make sure that we are fully correct in our understanding of how the products are supposed to function before we say anything about them as well.
All right, guys, so I am up here on the roof. It's been a while since I've been up here because Joshua and Jackson have been able to do all of the setup up here by themselves. The only thing that ever changes up here inside the Kabari is whether or not Jefferson's head goes on the driver's side or on the passenger side. Since we always level with our heads towards the nose of the trailer, because that's the way Jeremy and I's heads are going, that way all three of the bigger boys, their heads always go that same direction as well. So the only change that happens is whether or not it's left to right, whichever side is uphill. And so Jefferson's head always goes whichever way that is. And Joshua and Jackson are able to make those changes all on their own. I don't ever have to come up here. So the way that we have the boys up here, we've got the 3 older boys that sleep along this way, and as you can see, I have not been up here, so it is a little bit disheveled. But each boy has a pillow, a sleeping bag, and a fleece blanket. The cargo net that comes with the Kabari is absolutely perfect for our needs, because we have one pocket for each of the boys. Jefferson's is up here, and then Joshua's is above his bed, Johnny's is above his bed, and Jackson's is above his bed. This compartment they use for their glasses and the headlamp. And then this one over here is the bag that they put all of. That is the bag that they use for all of their pillows, their fleece blankets, and then their sleeping buddies that they have. Because those items we're not able to keep inside the tent when it is packed up. We do, however, get to keep, sorry, I wanted to close the screen so that the flies didn't get in. We are, however, able to keep all of the sleeping bags inside the tent, which is new. In the 87 walkabout, because there were so many of us, we weren't able to keep any of our, well, we probably could have kept some of the bedding in there, but it was easier to just take it all out rather than keeping a fraction of it inside the tent and then having stuff elsewhere. My brain just needed everything to be in one place. So all of the sleeping bags get to stay in, and then they've got the one bag of their accessories, I guess you could say, that get to come out. But yeah, Joshua and Jackson are fully capable of keeping track of all of their items that go up here, and that's great. That's awesome that I am no longer in charge of that responsibility. All right, guys, so I am now inside our cabin. There's a few things that I wanted to point out and share with you about what is inside Jeremy and mine's bedroom. These shelves are above our heads, and we absolutely love these shelves. The things that I put on the shelves are miscellaneous stuff, mostly the type of things that I would put into a bathroom cabinet, medicine cabinet type thing. And then our boys have their books down here as well, so there's easy access to that. But that's basically what this ends up being, is medicine cabinet type stuff. On the opposite side, over our feet, so Jeremy and I put our feet down here, and we had Artie and the team at Xpedition put in this gear shelf down here. Initially, the plan was to put baskets on the shelf for our clothing, but it turns out that the 2 suitcases that we used while we were in King Leo fit in here perfectly. So all of our clothing is on this shelf here. Another thing that we keep on the shelf is our Blue Eddy. This is a power station. We absolutely love it. It is essentially our AC power, since we do not actually have our AC outlets up here wired. The plan initially was to have them wired into here, but because of some miscommunication in the build process, those wires never got ran, and since we have not wanted to take apart the interior of our trailer, we've not run those wires. And with the Blue Eddy, we kind of don't know that we're going to. The other electrical that's up here is a 12-volt DC panel. It has an on-off switch, a 12-volt plug, and then both of these are USB plugs. Since we have the Blue Eddy in here, we don't tend to use those. It's very rare that we use those. The next compartment that we have in here are the 2 gear shelves that are cabinets that do come in here stock. We keep Jefferson's diapers and pull-ups up here. We've got extra cables, our bike backpack. This is my extra blanket or extra sheet for the Kabari. And then we've got our games bin, extra camera stuff goes up there, and then our bathroom bag and towels get shoved up behind everything. We also keep any bulk items that we have purchased, like kids Tylenol. We usually keep an extra 1 or 2 of those on board, as well as deodorant, because you never want to run out of deodorant, especially when you don't get to shower every single day. The only thing that I don't absolutely love, and this is something that has recently started, is this cabinet on the right no longer latches. And it does not matter if I shove everything in here out of the way. It doesn't latch. That's something that has started happening in the last few weeks. So there's 2 more things that I wanted to mention, and that is the lighting. You have, in here, you have 4 puck lights. They're the same lights that you get on the back door of the kitchen. They're great. They're definitely overkill for this space. It makes the room absolutely very bright. The good thing is that we have a dimmer switch right here, so we can totally dim it down. See, they are still on, but a lot less bright. And then this is the toggle for on and off. The other side has an on and off switch as well. This side, however, does not have a dimmer switch. This light switch right here is for the floodlights that Jeremy mentioned on the outside. So we have one of those for the passenger side, as well as the driver's side that turns the floodlights on. Let me turn the lights back up. These lights up here are supposed to be reading lights. They have a blue light that you can use as like a night light, if you will. And then you also can turn them on. They are rather bright. But to be honest, I kind of consider them overkill. We use them as hooks for our fans. And the reason that we have these fans hanging out on our lights is because the max flow air fan, or whatever it's called, Jeremy can, I'll put that down on the screen somewhere, because I don't know what it's called. But the max fan that we have on the roof, unfortunately, is very loud and it draws a lot of power. These 2 USB fans that we've had since we were in the 87 walkabout from 23.0 are perfect. They help the airflow just as much as we need. And Jeremy and I each have one so that we can face them towards us if it's too hot. It's nice to have them for when it's too cold, because it keeps the air movement inside the cabin. Since the cabin is completely metal, on super cold nights, we do have problems with condensation. We will have water dripping down the walls all over the cabin if it gets too cold outside. So having the fans help, because it keeps the air movement, and when the air is moving, it has less of a chance to condensate. The last thing that I wanted to mention while I'm inside the cabin is our mattress. Let's see if I can show you this. The mattress that comes standard inside these trailers is the one that folds up into a couch. Unfortunately, it is super cheap foam, which means that it is not enough support for Jeremy. If you've been around for any amount of time, you know that Jeremy has back issues from the accident that he was in Colorado. And because of that, he needs a very supportive mattress. And this is not that. One of the first changes that are in store for this trailer is we are going to replace the mattress with a custom mattress that will fit perfectly into this cabin. So that is on the way.
If you guys have been watching our first video, we had an issue with the axle. Since then, we've had no issues, but when we did reach out to Timbren, I talked to them about their axles, and come to find out their 3500 HD is the exact same as their 5200 pound axle. The only difference are the rubber springs, and E-Trailer sells those rubber springs directly from Timbren. So what we've done is, so the 3500 HD axle is the same as the 52. We've put the crossbar in, but the hubs, because we got the brakes, are 6,000 pound hubs, and it's a 5,200 pound axle. We swapped out the rubber springs Took me less than 5 minutes to do both sides, and it cost $330, right around there. And now we're riding on 5,200 pound springs. And we have the Load Range E BF Goodrich tires. So all that being said, if you don't go get your trailer frame recerted, you still can't go over 3,500 pounds. And there are quite a bit of states now that are fining people for being overweight. They're putting you on a scale, each individual tire, and the fines are super expensive. So don't be those people. So we went and got our frame recerted. We are recerted for 5,200 pounds now. The axle matches, the hubs are still over, and the tires are over. So that being said, we still do our best to stay right around 3,500, but if you scale your trailer that you have from Xpedition, you are probably overweight already. So we like to be a little over. That's why we have the 4Runner towing it for 5,000 pound towing instead of a Jeep, which is only 3,500, and good luck staying at 35 or not being over 3,500. But for us, we are now, not only are we legal, but we're still good on weight. So had no issues since we've done all of that. So that takes care of the underneath.
So one thing that is a piece of gear that we absolutely love is this oven. It is a Coleman oven. It folds down to being about that wide. When it's done, it's this piece and this piece. This accordion's in, and the top and bottom fold in. We do put a stone in the bottom, like a cooking stone in the bottom that fits perfectly. It's one of the Pampered Chef ones. And that helps regulate the temperature so that we don't end up burning as many things. Before getting that, I burnt cornbread, and that was the only thing that I cooked in it until I got the stone, and it's been a lot better since. You do have to make sure that you regulate the temperature. Hello, Johnny. You do have to make sure that you regulate the temperature before putting food in it. Otherwise you can burn stuff or it will be undercooked or whatever. But absolutely love this. At being on the road full time and having an oven is amazing. I love it. All right, guys, so the next part of our setup / rig that we want to talk about is our potty tent. This is the Wolf Wise shower tent that you can get on Amazon. Well, it has served its purpose and has been good enough for us since we started this lifestyle. The frustrations that come with this thing have gotten to the point where we don't like it anymore. It's very see-through, as you can see. You can see through it very well. Like, you can see through it. It's very see-through. We have cut the net out of the top because it collects bugs. It does not stand up in any kind of wind. It will fall over. The bottom for sure has started to rip. There's other areas where it rips as well. Overall, we don't love this potty tent. We're planning on switching to the 23.0 shower enclosure and using that as our potty tent when we are not showering. So that is in the works, hopefully soon. As for what goes in the potty tent, we have the Dometic cassette toilet, which is a 5-gallon capacity. It does the job. We don't absolutely love it. It doesn't always seal together correctly. So it has had issues with leaking as well. But as for now, we're going to keep it just because it does work. We just have to be super careful about how we put it back together. So one other piece of gear that we absolutely love and will definitely be keeping is this table right here. It folds up to about the size of a camping chair, which is perfect. It is a little bit longer, but that's not an issue for us. Another one of the things that we love are these camping chairs. They are the travel chair. It's the original, not the oversized one. They're perfect for the boys. They are perfect for the height of this table. And we only bought 4 because we were thinking we would continue to use the Kelty to go with the table. Unfortunately, it is a little bit too low. The seat is too far down, and you just can't reach the table. So we are looking at getting 2 more of these camping chairs for camping stools for the table so that all 6 of us can sit at the table using stools. We will keep the Kelty because, as you can see, it's a great place to lounge. Jeremy and I love sitting here if we're going to be watching the sunset or just watching the boys ride around and play outside. So we will definitely be keeping the Kelty low. It is by far one of our favorite items that we have on the rig as well. Nope.
Quiet. So this is our bike rack. It is a 6 bike rack. It is on a 7-inch extension, 4-inch rise, and this is the North Shore rack. It is the foldable. It is the NSR-6. And we are actually looking for a new rack because, as you can tell, these bars are bent. And as you know, and from all of our videos, we've only ever had 2 adult bikes and 4 kids bikes on this rack. So there's no reason it should be bending. We reached out to the company. They're not interested in anything. They blamed us, saying, well, you took it off-road, so it's your fault. So the options they gave us was to buy another $850 rack and pay shipping and tax. And well, we've had this rack for 1.5 years, so I can't spend that kind of money every 1.5 years because the product doesn't last. So I've been doing some research. We're looking at the Alta rack. The Alta rack actually comes up and then rises on an angle, so it will eliminate my extender and my riser. So that's exciting. And then they have a couple other features that we like too, and they're in Utah, and we're getting ready to pass back into Utah after Overland Expo West, and we're going to reach out to them and see if we can't get a demo unit or at least look at one at their shop and see if it will function for us. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, we've absolutely loved bringing our bikes with us. It's a big part of our channel, as you know. And so having our bikes with us is very important. So we will find a solution one way or another to have our 6 bikes with us. It might just take a little bit of time. And the next piece about the rack is, because we have a bike rack, when the bikes are on, this door doesn't really open enough. And we can't put the 270 awning up or any of that. So we've reached out to a company that makes a driver's side swing hitch. They're going to let us test it at Expo West. And if it works, we'll see if we can't work a deal with them. Otherwise, we're just going to purchase it because we need it anyways. But it opens up to 90 and locks, and it also opens up to 120, which will be right here, which, as you can see, a 120 would be perfect because then we can open the back door and put the awning out without having to take the bikes off, because sometimes you're just not in the best location to ride. So we're super excited about that. We're going to post a lot about that as well. We're also going to document our time at Expo West. We've got a lot of companies to meet with. We've got a lot of you guys to meet. We've been working really hard on our stuff. I believe we've got 10 to 12 new companies and businesses that we're working with now. And so we're going to drop all those links in the description below, whether it's affiliates, whether it's discounts, whether it's partnerships. All of that stuff is going to be down below. And you know, we don't beg you guys to do that, but we do appreciate you guys that do decide to do that as a way to support us. We really do appreciate that. Doesn't cost you any more than it would in general with the affiliate links, so we truly appreciate that. We do have some discounts down there with some of the companies that we work with, so look for those. And we are currently working on new discounts with some very big companies, so stay tuned for those. We will announce those as well. But after this, we're gonna resume our regular video schedule, and then we will break back in when we have those new partnerships or sponsorships solidified to drop those videos on you guys as well. So until next time, we're gonna enjoy this epic campsite. And if you have any questions about the gear, please feel free to ask. You guys are not shy when it comes to meeting us at the shows to ask us about the gear, and you know, whether we're affiliated, partnered, or sponsored, we're willing to speak honestly about the gear. So ask away. We'll give you the honest opinions. We've had this gear, we've tested it heavily for the equivalent of 6 to 8 years, so I believe that gives us a little bit of room to speak about it. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you for watching our next fun show.